If you're a player, coach, or parent trying to learn more about football, the quarterback position, navigate recruiting, or determine the landscape of both college and high school football, we got the podcast for you. But before we get going, quick shout out to our sponsors over at Lowney Sports. I've known Tim personally, and he's been a longtime supporter of both youth and high school athletes. He's also an attorney of over 25 years and both an NFL and NIL agent. Many think NIL is expensive, unnecessary, or that it only matters once you have an offer. But there's a lot more to know before the scholarships and deals start coming. To contact him for a free NIL consultation, call 617-733-8313 or visit lowneysports.com.
M2QB Academy is also a Wilson brand affiliate. When you're buying Wilson merchandise, go to the website, click checkout, and plug in our promo code M2QB-456 and save some money with your purchase.
This episode is brought to you by Cantiani Insurance Agency, insurance professionals specializing in home, auto, flood, and investment properties. They are the most referred insurance agency in Massachusetts. If you want coverage you can trust, call 508-791-2088 or visit cantianiagency.com. We also welcome a new sponsor, Wizard Computer Services, providing outsourced IT and cybersecurity since 1997. Call 781-341-2222 or visit www.wizardcpu.com for more information. New England's cybersecurity experts. Very, very special guest on today's podcast, Peter Bourque. Peter, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing great. Super pumped to be on the podcast.
Super pumped to have you, dude. A much anticipated podcast guest, I would guess. Kicking it off. What's going on in the life of Peter Bourque right now? You just wrapped up another season, and we'll get to that. Take us through bowl game ends, off season begins. What's Peter Bourque's day-to-day schedule?
All right. Right after the season ends, I'm on the couch for a week, rested. And then after that, back to work, probably 1 to 2 days a week, coming to see you guys, and then lifting and running, mixing that in as well throughout the 5 days of the week. And yeah.
Prepping through the offseason, obviously you're a Navy All-American this year as an underclassman. Obviously a super cool honor for you, and even as an underclassman too, like that's another accomplishment in its own right. How was that week? Talk us through that week and what that was like.
Yeah, no, it was super cool. Like being able to play with the best players in the country, being able to play with some stud wide receivers. The speed of the game was so much different. Kind of what it's going to be like in college. So super cool to play with those guys, and then also like playing with the best quarterbacks in the country as well. Kind of seeing where I stack up, and yeah.
And what was your takeaway like at leaving that week? What were some of your takeaways or like your overall experience? Like what was the biggest shock or the biggest like thing that you learned from that?
I'd say the biggest shock coming out of it was like the speed of the defense, like the way the defensive line, how fast they get to you, how explosive those guys are, and then like the DBs as well.
And then for the rest of like the total week, you talked about the talent level, the speed of the defense. Can you kind of relate that to what you saw this year at Tabor? Like speed, biggest difference. Physicality. We saw you tuck one and run early on and took a bit of a hit there. But talk to us through like the differences between playing up here in the NEPSA or in the ISL and then kind of what you saw down there.
Yeah, playing in a knapsack, much different than going against 5-star defensive backs that are looking to take your head off, especially if you're 3 yards out of bounds.
Like the practice week too, because there's a lot that goes into that game, right? So don't just talk about the All-American game itself, but like what was the week like? Is our practices, like are you surrounded by people asking you questions, and who's there, and talk us through the environment of practice week for that game?
Yeah, so at the practices, it's filled with all like the media guys, 24/7 Sports, On3, all those guys there, and then there's like a few college guys there, like the college beat reporters. They're trying to chase down people for interviews and stuff, so it's a lot of that. And then like we would have practices, pretty fast paced, do some like 7-on-7 1-on-1s, and then go team. And then after the practices, we'll go back to the hotel, and then there would be times where you'd meet with the media. So like I would get pulled into a room, and it'd be like with Tom Loy from 24/7 Sports. He'd be asking me questions, and then there's another one where we talked to the guys from NBC. So
What did that week do for your confidence? Like, did you leave that game feeling like I belong? Like, you're finally on this stage, you get to compete with those guys. Did you feel like you had a good week, and then leaving that, like, it matched up to where you're at as far as rankings and offers, and like, you've had such an amazing like growth path the last couple of years, and obviously like being a top 10 ranked quarterback in the country, you finally get to showcase your skills. Leaving there, you feel like you belong, you're one of those top guys?
yeah, no, for sure. That game was and that whole week was a huge confidence booster, because I realized, I mean, in my mind, I was the best guy out there. I mean, that's kind of always my mindset. And yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about like the pressure that comes with being a top recruited, top ranked guy? Like, do you enjoy that pressure? Are there things you don't enjoy about it? Like, just kind of for our listeners, whether it's high school kids or parents or guys aspiring to get to your level, like, what are some of, whether it's the pressures or the negatives of being a big time recruit?
Yeah, so I'd say the pressure's a lot. Like, I'd say like last year it kind of weighed in on me a little bit, like coming in like first after getting the initial first top 100 recruits, being listed as a 4-star coming into the season. Like, all right, I got everything to lose. So that was definitely hard for me. I was definitely like second guessing myself a little bit, but I think this year I made much bigger steps. Didn't really think about that too much. I mean, being committed definitely helped.
What is it hard to just focus on the season? Like, when you have all that going on, is it hard to really like zone in and just be where your feet are and focus on your time at Tabor with recruits calling you all the time, beat reporters calling you all the time, like your name's always out there on social media? Like, do those distractions, like, how did you learn to cope with that and deal with that?
Yeah, so I mean, during the season it's not as much. So it really wasn't that much of a factor, but more so like out of the season. I remember last January going through it, and it was like it was a lot for me. Like, every night having to take 2 calls at least, and then now as well, I'm getting called like 4 times a day. It's definitely a lot, but at the same time, it's great to hear what all these people have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're building great relationships and learning a lot from the process. I'm sure you know a lot, even talking to you now versus when we were starting out this process a year or two ago. Like, you seem like you have so much more knowledge on what you want, right, from a team, what you want from a program, what you want from the coaches that you're looking to go and play for at the next level. Obviously committed to Michigan, like, big weight off your back when you did that. And then, obviously the story breaks and everything happens at Michigan and the staff gets fired, and now you're back to square one. Like, emotionally, how was that when you had to kind of reset and now it's like you're trying to figure it all out again?
Yeah, so I mean, like kind of at first, I mean, I heard from my buddies, they called me. So at first I was pretty pissed off, but at the same time, I took it as a chance to like kind of explore other options without like it being viewed as wrong. So that was great. And then when the time came, like felt like it was the best decision for me to fully reopen things, take visits, and kind of make sure I'm making the right decision.
Absolutely.
Your most recent visit, Georgia, right?
Yeah.
How's that? I mean, obviously, for a lot of us, watching your story and following you along, like a lot of people are curious as to where you might end up now. But a lot of these visits are obviously at big time schools. So take us through like the Georgia visit, and from like the moment you got there to the moment you left. Like, what are some things that people can live vicariously through you? Like, how does that visit go?
Yeah. So going into visiting Georgia, I had super high expectations. One of the, if not the best college football program in the country. And those guys exceeded past every one of those expectations. Spent basically the entire day with the quarterback coach, Coach Streeter, and then the offensive coordinator, Coach Bobo. Started off, we went to breakfast, then we went over to the facility, took a quick little like peek at that, and then we hopped in the car and did a campus tour. Got to see one of the dorms. I mean, the freshman football living situation is unreal, so that was pretty cool to see. And then after that, really dove in deep with like some of like the offensive stuff. They're showing me what they do in offense, how it translates to the NFL. showing some clips of like the Rams, for example, running exactly what they're running. The Pats, showing Drake May how he does similar things to what they do. So kind of showing like what they teach and then how it translates. That was pretty cool to see. And then I got to sit down with Coach Smart for around an hour, which was awesome. It's my first time talking to him, and super impressive guy. You can tell he's a great coach and someone that everyone would love to play under.
In that room with quarterbacks coach and OC, Coach Boa, did they get you on the board at all? Like, did they have you working through things with them, or was it more so like just showcasing what they do? And for someone of your, talent and caliber, like, hey, this is a good reason why you come to Georgia. Like, this translates to the next level too. Did they
Yeah,
get
so
you involved at all?
yeah, a little bit of both. They're showing me their stuff, like their reads and all that. And then they told me to go up and draw a couple of my favorite plays and kind of explain it to them. I mean, didn't really go crazy into depth, just a little bit of draw out the play, tell them the reads, and that was about it.
What'd you draw up? What
I
are the
drew our
plays?
play, our play funnel. 3-by-1, 2 inside guys are running digs, and then the outside guys got fade comeback, and the guy alone, he's running under route.
And the atmosphere, like, obviously Georgia's cool. Like, is there like a couple other places to you that, recent visits that may have stuck out where like it was like a similar atmosphere, or was Georgia just a little bit different, just
I
like
mean,
more football country?
haven't taken a visit, other than Georgia since, Michigan. Michigan's a crazy atmosphere, but I don't think it's quite the same. Like, Georgia's definitely gonna be much louder. Stadium goes like this, Michigan goes like this. So the fan bases are kind of similar, but SEC football is a little bit different.
Is this all normalized to you now? Like, obviously, you grew up watching these guys on TV. Like, is it surreal still for you that you're in it now and you're a part of it and you're going and you're meeting with these coaches and talking to them? I mean, even like Bill Belichick, right? Coming to watch you throw, things like that. Like, do you ever have time to just step back and think, like, you can't believe that you're going through this process? Or is it because you've been going through it now for 2 years? Is it pretty, normal?
Yeah, no, it's still super cool. I'm getting to meet guys like Kirby Smart, James Franklin, and then Bill Belichick as well. Like, super cool. Like, growing up watching all those guys playing the biggest games. Yeah, still as cool today as it was when it started. Like, actually, 30 minutes ago, I just got off the phone with Coach Belichick, which was insane. I was just running into everyone's door telling them.
What do you have to say to you?
No, he was trying to figure out a day for me to come down. He just let me know that I'm one of their top guys and wants me to come visit.
That's wild. That's gotta be crazy. I mean, like Mike touched on, that was my next point I wanted to make with you is like, obviously it's such a hectic situation, especially going through it a second time, but like what you're doing and being from the area and you're setting new standards and new boundaries, and it's really cool to see. But at some point you gotta step back and realize where you are and what you're doing and just be proud of yourself. You know what I mean? Because not a lot of people get to do what you're doing, and it's pretty cool, and it's inspirational for all the younger guys that we have, and someone to look up to and aspire to be. But you got to appreciate that too. I mean, holy shit!
Yeah, no,
Getting off the phone with Bill Belichick, like, come on now.
yeah, no, definitely a really cool experience. And my little brother Bobby, he definitely takes it for advantage. We're sitting there talking to Kirby Smart. He's got a football in his hand, throwing it up like he's not caring in the world what's going on. He's like biting his fingers, throwing his nails on the ground in front of the guy.
I was gonna say, does Bobby
That's
Bourque
awesome.
have the best life in history?
Yeah. Oh,
Bobby, he's got it pretty good.
yeah, he posted something on TikTok the other day, like a little dump of all like the college pictures he has. He's getting pictures of every head coach, all these players.
Let's go back. Let's go back to young Pete. Obviously, with Mike, you started way back when. What was it, fourth
It's like
grade?
fourth grade, end of fourth
Yeah,
grade.
fourth grade.
Yeah.
Fourth grade. And I remember the first time when I came on with them too, and Mike was like, man, I'm telling you, this kid he's it. Like, he's going to be, one of the ones. At what point, Pete, like, I don't know, maybe it was during a training session or, mid-season at some point, did you realize, like, holy smokes, like, this could be what I can become? Like, I have the potential to do this type of damage and garner all these offers and attention. Was there a moment in time, or was that just kind of accumulating as you got better?
I feel like I always believed, like, I knew I could play football, at the highest level. I just really didn't receive like clarity on that until really my sophomore year. But I kind of always believed I was always kind of a bigger kid, stronger, faster, and kind of in sophomore year transferred to Tabor, and then Coach Moore kind of helped me out with everything. I think he gets all the credit for that. Kind of getting my name out there.
All right. So February 15th, 2024, you have no offers. Okay. You just decided that you're going to transfer to Tabor. If I told you 2 years later that you'd be a 2-time New England champion, Gatorade Player of the Year, 35 offers, 5th ranked QB in the class, would you believe it?
I mean, I feel like I would, because I really always had confidence in myself. Like when I was younger, going to all like the FBU camps, all these camps with the best quarterbacks in the country, I always thought like I stacked up there. But my confidence was always there. So if you told me that, I'd probably believe you.
Can you talk about the validation of just getting that first offer from Maryland a few days after we talked about February 15th, 2024? What was the emotion that came with that? Or like your first offer, you felt like you could play at that level. Like you said, you've stacked up against some of the best guys in the country. You finally get that call. What's that like?
Yeah, so I was actually at a lacrosse tournament at Maryland, and then had time to, the offensive coordinator was there, so I had time to meet with him. I guess he watched my film probably 10 minutes before, and then he told me he was going to offer me a full scholarship to Maryland, and I was beyond excited. Probably the happiest I've been. And I was super excited that I didn't have to play club lacrosse anymore as well. So that's my last tournament. I'm done.
What came after that? After Maryland, like what was the next? I mean, was it a domino effect, or was it like wait a couple months, get another one? Like how did it start to unfold?
Yeah, I remember Syracuse was pretty much right after that, and then I think Toledo came in, and then I waited till June, and then Kentucky came, and then Penn State, and then like a couple smaller ones, and then after the season, towards like the January eval period, when all the schools could like actually watch me throw live, that's when I started to really explode.
You're talking about all these guys watching you throw live. Like I was just gonna kind of transition to Mike and I and James, and we've been at a few of those Tabor showcases now, like throwing in front of, I don't know, how many coaches were there, Mike? Do you remember? A
It
lot.
was over 100 this year, I think.
Over 100 coaches. Like, what's that experience like? Like the showcase thing, I still feel like maybe to me is a little bit newer, but obviously some public schools have also kind of adopted it recently too. What's it like to throw in front of like that many coaches? Is it at some point it just becomes game like for you, or is it a little bit different?
Yeah, no, I mean it's super nerve wracking, knowing all those eyes are on me. Like I remember the first showcase, I was super rattled. Ball was probably going everywhere, and then kind of the second go around of it, I was a little more calm. But no, it's definitely super nerve wracking knowing all the best college programs in the country are watching you throw, taking videos of you.
And is there a lot of extension of conversation like at the field that day, or is it a lot more, they kind of just shoot you a text or a call later on? Like, are you there an hour afterwards still talking to guys?
I mean, maybe like 30 minutes after, still talking to some of those guys, and then that night, be on the phone a couple times, but it's nothing crazy.
Now you touched on just what Jeff Moore has done for you and Tabor. Can you just go a little bit more in depth with that? What's your experience since you've gotten to Tabor, and obviously Jeff's helped you out a ton, but just walk us through that. You'd make the big decision to transfer. It's obviously a huge life decision, moving away from home. Now you're boarding at Tabor Academy. What was like the adjustment, and then what were some of the good things, that came with it, that first year at Tabor?
Yeah, so obviously living here was a little bit of adjustment, but after the first couple of days, I loved it. I didn't want to go home. It's kind of fun living with all your best friends, just goofing around all day. But it surrounds you with a bunch of kids that have the same goals, same kids that want to make it to the next level, kids that are constantly wanting to go to the weight room, do all that stuff. So it's putting me around like the right group of kids. And then also with Coach Moore, there's no one that works harder for his players as Coach Moore does. Whether it's our guys that are looking at schools like in the SEC, Big Ten. I mean, he's working just as hard for our guys that are looking at the D3 schools, FCS. Yeah, I think that's kind of big reason that brings a lot of people to Tabor.
Was it an adjustment trying to balance the academics, the team workouts, like you said, traveling to workouts to train with us, going to speed training? Like that's a pretty rigorous schedule. Was there a big adjustment for you, like when you got to Tabor?
I'd say a little bit. I'm not like the best at doing things on time. I tend to push things off a lot. So like there'll definitely be times where I got homework due and then I got to watch film. I got a game coming up. So just running things like that. But I mean, not really much of an issue when I'm coming off campus to go train with you guys or going to see Dana.
Your first year at Tabor, we were just kind of talking about it. Mike and I obviously went to a game versus Seb's. I want to talk about, obviously, right, the game was kind of back and forth between you and Ty, and it's for me and Mike, obviously, it's incredible to watch as two guys that we worked with. But then you have the Hail Mary. Can you walk us through that play? Just kind of talk about it from the snap to the catch.
Yeah, even before the snap, like what's your thought process going into that, and then as it unfolds?
Yeah, so before the snap, I mean, I'm looking at their defense. They got like 4 guys standing in the end zone. I'm like, all right, we're screwed. It's almost. And then I drop back and I see Marky Walbridge running at me, like all 6'8", 280 of him. So I run all the way right, nothing going. And then I spun around left, trying to, I don't know, get a chance for my receivers to run open. And then I saw Demir kind of coming open through everyone. And I just gave him a shot and he went up and got it. And then, we had the whole school behind us in the end zone. So that was super cool. I remember taking off my helmet, running as fast as I could in the end zone. It was definitely my coolest high school experience.
I was gonna say, is that the best football moment so far in your career?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so.
Can you talk about that like clutch gene a little bit? I mean, if you bring it back to your freshman year, you get thrown in the game in the semifinals and the playoffs, you throw a touchdown, you get thrown in the game as a freshman in the state championship, throw 2 touchdowns, you lead that 2-minute drive as a sophomore against Zavarian, huge comeback win. The St. Seb's Hail Mary, like there's a bunch of those throughout your career. Do you feel like your competitive greatness or your ability to play best at those moments, like is that something that you hang your hat on? Like what's your secret sauce for that? I don't know, just talk about that a little.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things that Coach Moore always puts on us is never flinch. So I'd say that's a lot of it. And then, confidence I have in myself. I remember like going into the game my freshman year, I knew I was ready for it. I mean, I practiced against the CM1s every day in practice. Those guys are better than any team we play against. So I knew I could go out there. I just had to give our athletes a chance. Sophomore year, 1 minute to go against the Bavarian. I knew our receivers are better. I just had to give those guys the opportunities to make plays. And that was pretty much all it needed.
One thing about you, Pete, knowing you since you were however old you were when we started, like I feel like it was like you were 8 years old, but you talking to you now, it seems like your confidence is at an all-time high, as it should be, and I think that's super important. Is that something that you've kind of developed later on in your career, now that you are where you are, or is that something you've always had since you were really young?
I mean, I feel like I've always been pretty confident, but definitely like some doubts of where I stood. But I think now, I mean, I'm very confident in my abilities in my game, and I think that's like allows me to play without overthinking things. I think it's a big thing, especially when you're playing quarterback.
Yeah, no doubt. And if you could go back and talk to young Pete and give him one piece of advice, 8-year-old young Peter just getting onto the football scene, what's something that you'd go back and you'd tell him, or even like if you were talking to your younger brother, like what's one piece of advice that you feel is real important for younger guys, especially quarterbacks that are aspiring to be where you are now?
I mean, I'll go back to kind of what Danny said on the podcast, like, don't compare yourself to others. I think that's what I did a lot of, like, watching all these good things happen to the quarterbacks, like, all the kids in Florida, like, oh, this guy just got offered, I'm better than him. But instead, like, yeah, running your own race and, like, really focusing on yourself and improving what you can and then control, like, what is actually controllable.
Yeah, I think like a lot of credit goes to you with your preparation. Like you're kind of downplaying it, but you've trained with us longer than anyone that we've had. Like you're our longest tenured kid. You've been consistent every single year, multiple times a week throughout the entire year. And your growth and your confidence, I think, comes from your preparation, right? For you, it's not like you're saying like, oh, the schedule adjustment and all that, like it's not big for you because it's just the way you live. But like if people were to see your day to day and what you're actually doing, it's impressive, and it's commendable. And you've put so much work in to get where you are now. Another big accomplishment, Gatorade Player of the Year. Talk about that when you found out that you won that award. Was that something that a goal that you had set for yourself? Obviously, super prestigious award, only one winner in the whole state, all positions. So just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, ever since when I was in 7th grade, watching the kid from CM, Owen McGowan, win that was one of the biggest dreams of mine. I always wanted to win Gatorade Player of the Year. And then this season felt like last season I had a solid season, saw what I could do, and then saw what I definitely needed to improve on. And then this season I had that in the back of my head and then went out there and did my best. And I remember I was walking out of art class when I found out, and I was super pumped. I mean, I think there's plenty of guys that deserve that just as much. Like I felt like Osiris was kind of going to win it, and then I was just super pumped to find out I got it.
Where do you think that growth came from? Like you talked about, you had a good year, your first year at Tabor, but then fast forward to 2025, you guys are undefeated, NIPSAC title. For you personally, what was the biggest leap? Could be mental, physical, emotional, like from that first season at Tabor till this past year.
Yeah, I'd say definitely like the mental side. I definitely took a step up. That year having Jimmy with me definitely helped me like understand like the concepts a little bit more, like the reads, all that, and then taking all that from that year and then bring it to this year. I think that was definitely huge. And then also like confidence I had in myself, the ability to use my legs as well, playing as like a true athlete. I think that also helped me make a huge leap forward this year.
And then looking forward to next year, like are there certain areas that you're kind of putting an emphasis on improving going into your senior year?
Yeah, next year, I mean, this year I think I had like a 65 completion percentage. That's got to be higher. I want to get up 75. That's going to be the goal. And then got to throw a lot more touchdowns. Left a lot on the table this past year. I think I can do a lot better than I did.
So obviously, like we talked about, back to square one now. What are you looking for when it comes to making your commitment? Like, what are some things that you're valuing? Is it the school, the environment, the coaching staff, the system? Like, what you've been through this process already. You made a commitment. You're now getting another shot at it after you're much more educated on the whole process. What are you now valuing the most? Or like, what are some things you're looking for in that program that you're ultimately going to commit to?
Yeah, so I want to play for a winning program, a program that its goals are to win the national championship. And I think that's a lot of the schools out there. But I also want to be developed. That's probably the biggest thing for me. Like a lot of kids, my goal is to play in the NFL, and then it all starts with development. You could be the tallest, most athletic, strongest arm guy. It's all up here. Like you gotta understand what's going on out there, and then that's the biggest thing with finding a room that's going to develop you.
Absolutely. Can you just talk about your parents a little bit and the role that they've played in this and help educating you on this whole process and just your whole, football journey and life. Just give a shout out to your parents. What have you learned from them? How have they helped you in this process?
Yeah, so my parents are both athletes. My mom was a Division I sprinter at St. Pennsylvania, and my dad is a Division I tight end. He played at Dartmouth, and yeah, like my dad's super helpful in this process. He's watching every podcast, reading every article, trying to improve his knowledge on everything. So they've been super helpful with this. My mom's starting to get the hang of things. I think she's understanding quarterbacks now. Like she's watching Pats play and wondering what the hell's going through Drake May's mind. Like, why is he throwing here? Why isn't he going through his reads? Like, he thinks he knows everything now. But yeah, I don't know. They definitely been super helpful, and especially from a young age. Like they pushed me really hard. Like made me go to every like workout, played every sport, forced me to go to you guys when I was younger.
Made me go to M2.
Like I don't know, 4th graders throwing the football around can't be too good, but
It wasn't.
definitely appreciate that. Yeah, and when I was little, my dad would have me doing box jumps. They definitely raised me to become a great athlete, and all credit goes to them.
Yeah, it's been so cool to watch, and I talked to your dad a lot about the whole process, and like you said, he's super educated on everything, like as educated as anyone that I've talked to on in the process. So super lucky to have them both, and watching your mom at the games and how passionate she is and how much they care.
It's awesome.
You're lucky to have them in your corner. So it's been cool to see, especially from a young age. And I know they're super excited for this process to end, and you find that school and then just focus on your senior year and have a great senior year. What what are like some of your goals, team goals, personal goals for next year?
Yeah, so first and foremost, my biggest goal and our team's biggest goal is to go undefeated, and then not only go undefeated, but to dominate, make it clear that we're the best team in New England, coming back with a lot of talent. We're going to have a squad next year. And then, our main goal is to dominate. And some goals for myself are kind of going to be based off this year, like improve everything. Completion percentage, I want that to be way higher. I want to throw for more yards. I want to run for more yards. I want to score more touchdowns, things like that.
Now, one of those kids that is coming to Tabor, I think is at Tabor now, is someone that you're really familiar with, someone that you grew up playing with in the Hingham Youth Program, JT Real. Talk about that, like full circle moment. Obviously grew up playing with him, and now you get an opportunity to close out your career with him.
Yeah, JT's been my number one receiver since we were in 5th grade. And, he went to CM with me. And then we both went back to Hingham together, and then now he's coming back to Tabor. So it's been super cool. He's one of my best friends. And then we're going to kill it together next year. I think he's going to play some defense, going to play some offense. I think he's starting to turn a lot of heads in the recruiting. And I think that's going to be the guy's surefire FBS football player when it's all said and done.
If you guys
I didn't know he was going to Tabor. We were talking about him earlier when we were preparing for this podcast, and one of the first names that came up for me was JT, going way back to the 4th grade days. I had no idea.
You should see JT now, dude.
I've seen him. He's a stud.
Moose.
I've seen him.
Moose.
But I had no idea he was going to Tabor. That's going to be unreal to watch. I'm actually really looking forward to that.
He's already here. He transferred a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
Already great with everyone. Yeah.
JT's my guy. Shout out
If
JT.
you guys are still at Hingham High School, are you guys making a run for the MIA state championship or what?
What division? Pete, what division is Hingham?
I think D3, but if we have all the Hingham kids, would win it with ease, I think.
Who else is on that team? It'd be you, JT,
and then
who are some other guys that may have left and went somewhere else?
Kid Will Haggerty, he's at Stebbs now. He made first team ISL, and then Deacon as well.
It's crazy because all those kids were there when I started training you guys at Hingham in 4th grade. And they've been pretty consistent ever since of showing up with you and running routes. And it's just cool to see the evolution of everything. Think back to those early days training. What are some of your memories, whether it's, when I used to come before the Hingham football practices when you were real young, or just talk about maybe some moments over the years that stick out to you training with us?
Yeah, no, I remember when I was super young, after our practices, you'd come by, or before our practices, we'd have our girdles on and everything. We'd have like the whole youth football crew out there working. And then I also remember the little indoor facility. Remember that one? We were like throwing around poles.
Yeah.
It was tiny.
I remember that.
A lot of frustration, struggles. But yeah, I always loved coming to throw.
That was a good time in that little spot. Remember, Mike, we used to go from the pit and then we'd shoot over there. I forget. It was right down the street, but I forget what it was. It was a small area. And we had like 10 of you guys in there, Pete. There was like 10 Hingham youth kids, you, and we got after it in that little spot. That was fun.
Yeah, no, I also remember like when I started to get a little older, like 6th grade, 7th grade, being able to throw with like some of the older guys, like Jimmy, and like those are the guys I looked up to. Like, it was super cool for me.
Can you talk about how that helped with your development, maybe learning from some of those guys, or just, like you said, looking up to them over the years, obviously seeing them, whether it's through the social media or you get there early and you see them throwing before, and then you finally get your opportunity to throw with some of those guys. How did that help you develop as a player?
Yeah, no, seeing how those guys would attack every rep was definitely huge. Remember the days of the pit, my dad would hold me after to watch guys like Brady Olson throw and Jimmy. And then watching those guys. And then eventually when I got to throw with those guys, kind of attacking every rep, really competing. Like I remember going through like the footwork drills, like going against Donovan Carr. He was super shifty, and I'd compete my ass off trying to keep up with him. And I think that definitely helped me kind of develop not only as a competitor but as a player.
Yeah, what I think is so cool is seeing you now. Like, obviously, you're that guy. Everyone knows who you are. You show up to a session, kids are looking around and seeing how you act at a session and see how you take reps. And it was cool. I was like literally thinking about it the other day, watching you. Like, so many kids at the session are reacting or training at a higher level because you're there, and they're just excited to throw with you and work with you. And you've been such a good mentor and role model to those kids. So to see it go full circle from where you started to now you're on the other side of it, it's fun to watch, and for us it's rewarding as coaches. So really cool to see. Favorite training spot over the years? Any field?
Myrtle. I love Myrtle. I just love getting bit by mosquitoes and having mud fly all over me.
That's it. That's
That is
it.
a
It takes
good-
a
that's a
special
good
guy,
spot.
Pete. It takes
Yeah.
a special guy to really embrace
I'll
what
take
Myrtle's
a
going to give us.
session over anything.
I love that.
And then
Well,
also
let's
the pit.
go ahead, Pete. Go ahead.
Snake pit.
Mm.
Yeah,
OG.
R.I.P.
Snake pit was great.
And then
Yeah.
Dude,
also,
Now we got
dreams are
Riverside
made
and-
in the pit.
Yeah, Riverside's
Dreams are
up there
made
as
in
well.
the pit.
I mean, only 1 year there, but
They just put in a slushy machine too, Pete. So you're in
yes,
business.
I'm gonna ask Pete for the slushies, test that out, and if the slushies are good, I'll put them up to the number one spot.
You want to hit him with the 2-minute drill, Mike?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, Pete. The 2-minute drill. I don't know if you've seen the podcast with Jimmy. We put 2 minutes on the theoretical clock, which is not actually on the screen, and we're just gonna pepper you with questions, and they could be football related. They also could just be Peter Bourque related. Could be anything. Could be
All right.
favorite. I'm not going to say any because I don't want to give them away. I want
All right, I got a
this is
clock
2-minute
right
drill. We're working fast. We need quick answers. If you can't do it, you either got to spike it or throw it away, and we'll move on to the next one.
here. Wait, what does
All
spike
right,
it
so-
do?
That just means you're going to skip it.
So throw it away is the same thing.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you can just throw it away.
You can just throw it
Um,
away, Pete. Don't spike it.
Try to answer it though, Pete. All right, Stez, are you good? So I'll go first, then Al, then Stez, and we'll just keep going around the horn.
You better lock in for the 2 minutes. Drill.
I know. I wasn't on my game last time. This time I'll try to be better. No problem.
All right, Pete, this is your specialty, right? Game on the line, balls in your
Game
hand.
on the
Let's
line.
see how you handle
Gene.
it.
Clutch Gene.
All right. So speaking of M2, what is the one quarterback you've learned most from in a singular throwing session?
Oh, I mean, got to be Jimmy.
All right. What TV show would you want to be in?
Big Walking Dead fan.
Pre-game song. What's number one on the playlist?
Skrilla, Kodak.
All right. One word to describe your game. One word.
Sneaky.
If you got to choose your name, Peter, what would it be?
Like a real name?
Yeah, just any name. Like if you were just given a chance to rename yourself.
I like my name.
That's fine. That's fine. You can keep
That's a
Pete.
good answer. That's a good answer. This was a controversial one last time on the Jimmy 2-minute drill, but pineapple on pizza.
Awful. No, I'm never mixing
Awful.
a
There
fruit.
it is, Pete.
You kidding me? It's
Disgusting.
gross.
Toughest environment you've ever played in.
Probably playing against Zavarian my sophomore year. That place was packed.
Favorite movie?
I like the Maze Runners a lot, and then also like the Jump Streets, 21, 22.
I wish you just said Jump Street right off the bat.
Third and manageable, man coverage. What are you throwing every single time?
Third and manageable man coverage. I really like was one play we got post in the corner coming at each other. It works every time on third down, especially when they're in man.
Scissors
Puts the
action.
cornerback and safety to bind. And yeah, I'll go with that.
Would you rather have a loud home crowd or silence in a away crowd?
Loud home crowd.
Favorite food? You get one food for the rest of your life. What are you eating, Pete?
Pizza.
Pizza Pete.
A lot of money. Drive whatever you want. What are you driving?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think I'm too flashy of a car guy. I like my Bronco, but maybe like a decked out Bronco, like a really cool looking one.
Pete likes Pete. What I learned about Pete is that Pete likes Pete right now. Pete is good with Pete. Pete is good with where Pete's at.
All right, last one for me.
I got one
Quarterback you study most over the years, NFL, college, whoever.
I mean, I like watching a lot of Josh Allen. I think he kind of plays similar to me as a big dude that can move when needed. But yeah, to him.
All right, last one for me. What is Peter Bourque's ceiling?
I want to say NFL. If I do everything right, get developed right, do everything I can, I think that's where I should end up if I do everything needed.
Last one for me as well. EA Sports High School Football 2027. What's your overall rating?
Oh, I mean, I'm giving myself a 99.
Let's go. Let's go.
99 elusiveness.
Let's go.
Add 99, and then 93 speed, 94 speed.
Let's
Well,
go. That's big. That's big time.
94 is pretty good. That's like a 4-4.
No, Masters football. It's a 4-6.
All right, fine.
I do got. If you guys don't got anything else, I do have one more question I got for Peter, but I'll let you guys
all
go.
you, Stevie. No,
go ahead.
I'm
All right.
good.
Go.
We'll close it if we're going to close it out. 15, 20 years from now, you look back. Where is Peter Bourque 20 years from now? Where do you see yourself, and what do you see as some of your accomplishments?
You know, I see myself hopefully having a good job, but hopefully I did it. I made it to the NFL. Hopefully I made some good money from that. Hopefully I win a national championship in college, bring a team to the playoffs, and and hopefully I'm a pretty good golfer.
Let's go. Well,
Good job, Pete.
hey, in 6 years we're going to
Pete,
clip
crush
that
it.
national championship Peter Bourque, and that'll be in a big time post right there.
That'll be
Manifesting that.
Yeah,
I
be a
got one more.
callback.
I got one more. So for the short term, looking forward the next couple months, March, April, what's on tap for you? Do you have visits lined up, or are you still figuring that out? Elite 11, Under Armour camp. Like what are some things that you're focusing on now within these next 2 months before you get into the summer season?
Yeah, so I want to get myself out there with some of the best quarterbacks in the country. I want to go to Elite 11, the regional one, and then hopefully earn an invite to the main show. And then I want to go to the Under Armour camp as well, do good out there, and then plan on going to see a couple more schools. You know, I just saw Georgia. I plan on seeing Penn State as well, Virginia Tech, and then gonna figure it out the other schools as well.
Peter, I'd like to. You didn't mention this one, but I'm assuming it's because you haven't been invited. I'd like to formally invite you to the M2 Showdown camp in June. Do you accept?
I mean, yeah, I accept. I mean, no OVs going on that time.
Let's go.
Love
See
it.
that, Mike? That's how you do
Maybe
it.
maybe he'll finally win this year.
Dad takes over, but
Stop it.
plan
Oh,
on
Stop
being
it.
Yeah,
You
I
already
talked to him
accepted.
today. We've got it all worked out, Pete.
Yeah, so I'll
You
be
just worry about winning the MVP.
Yeah, and
Which you-
I'm coming for it all this time. You know.